Hi, friend.
Hi, friend. How
I'm
are you?
good. Oh my God, I'm so happy to be here.
Me too.
This is.
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been a long time coming. You've
Oh
been
my
talking about
God.
this for a while.
So it's actually been 10 years.
I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And I've known you has it been, okay, I was trying to think about this. We met in 2016 when I was going through
Yeah.
my divorce.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
9 years ago.
9 years ago. Yeah.
9 years ago. And
Yeah.
in 9 years, we have three
Yep.
kids.
Yep. Between the two of us,
Between the two of us, 3 kids.
Uh-huh.
2 marriages.
Yep.
2 divorces.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. Started businesses.
Yep. Yeah.
A lot has happened.
A lot has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about all of that?
I feel to God, I'm tired, girl. I feel good. I feel like this is the happiest I've been.
This is the happiest you've been.
In 10 years. As
Yeah.
long as I've known you. When I met you, I was going through a divorce.
Yep.
And kind of redefining myself and my life.
Mm-hmm.
You had just moved here.
I had just moved here. Yep.
Dating your now husband.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. And we've gone through a lot too. So in the last 9 years. So now I guess 10 because we've lived here for 10 years.
Okay. Yeah.
2025. We moved here in 2015. So yeah.
15. I met you 2016.
Yeah.
The lab.
Crazy.
The gym brought it all together.
The gym brought it all
my
together.
gosh.
All the events too.
Yeah.
I mean, Austin was bumping back then.
The
There was
W,
so many-
guys.
the W.
back in the day
It was so
with
much
it.
fun.
Yeah,
I
it
know.
was so much fun.
It was fun.
So I will do a quick intro. Krystle Copulus. This is the Krystle Clear podcast. This is the very first episode, and I have my very dear friend Liz Wendler that we've been friends with for almost a decade.
Mm-hmm.
She's like a sister to me. We are raising our children together. She is a sounding board in my life. I am grateful for her. I love you.
I love you.
And yeah, so Liz, tell us about you. Give us your story of how you got to Austin.
Yeah.
And just kind of who and
Yeah.
where you are.
I will try my best to keep it short and sweet. But so my husband, well, my now husband Phil, we moved here from New York about 10 years ago. And mostly through his job, but I ended up working, basically left the corporate world to go work for a startup. And that also brought us to Austin as well, and did that for 7 years. Been with that company for 7 years. And we got married in 2017, had a baby in 2018. And then then COVID happened in 2020, right? And so when COVID happened, was going through kind of an identity crisis as far as like, okay, I'm married, I have a kid. I got laid off from what I thought was my dream job because I was working in, in this like really great menswear brand fashion. And then once I got laid off, I was trying to figure out like what I wanted to do with my life. And I had, always wanted to style, always wanted to stay in fashion, but it was really hard for me to make that leap because there's not a ton of money in fashion if you really want to go that direction, or you're stuck in retail. And I did not want to be stuck in retail. And so, and then we were planning on having a second child. So, I decided to start my own styling business. I styled back when I was in my mid-20s during my corporate days. And when I was doing that, I didn't really have the right business model for that. And I really needed to figure out how to make that work in my, I guess now 40s, right? And, going through my second career of life. And I just went for it. I think I maybe called you, I called a couple other friends and, was trying to figure out like, is this a good idea? And I think mostly everyone said, yeah, this is a great idea. You should do it. Like, you'll be so good at it. But I didn't really know what the market was going to be like. And so I hired a business coach to really help kind of get me to that next level of thinking, to reshape my mindset, because I was going from corporate to a startup, but also an entrepreneur, right? So there's a lot of shifts and transitions. I don't think I could have gone from corporate to a startup,
Right.
my own startup, but I went from corporate to working for a small business, someone else's small startup, to then becoming my own entrepreneur. So that was really hard in shaping kind of like my mindset, but I did it. And here I am. Now I have 2 kids, married, and we live in Austin, and yeah, life is good so far. So Yeah. And I have my crew. I have you.
Yes.
You know, and then building a network of entrepreneur friends, and then, you know, like kids and their friends and their parents, you know, so it's a whole, like, there's just a lot of layers right now in life. So, yeah, it's crazy.
My claim to fame with you is that I am like an OG friend of Liz.
You are my OG friend.
Because let me tell you, at those play dates, girl, those moms are like, oh no, but Liz is my real friend. Oh no, but Liz, like, I've known Liz forever. And I'm always like, just waiting for them to be like, our kids go to school together. You know, we've known each other for 4 years. And I'm like, yeah, 10.
Yeah. She's like, I was there from the start, from day one.
First friend in Austin. So it's funny because they like fight over you. No, she's my friend. No, she's my best friend. And I'm like,
that's okay, hilarious.
You guys can,
it's so flattering.
It is so flattering. You're so loved. Okay, so I want to bring it like all the way back. To little Liz.
Yes,
like little Liz, childhood. You know, one of the important topics I would love to talk about is growing up biracial and raising children that are biracial. And if you want to kind of talk to that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's so interesting because, okay, so I'm half Black and half Korean, as you know. I'm just sharing that with the audience, but being half Black and half Korean, and I was actually born on a military base in Germany, so my dad was in the military. And I lived in Germany for 2 years, and then my dad retired in Washington State. And so, to be honest, little Liz didn't really know who she was. And I think it was really hard because having parents that raised biracial kids, I don't think they really understood the importance of helping their biracial kids understand their identity, and they never talked about it. Like my mom would speak, you know, phrases and speak Korean. I remember because I know some Korean words and phrases, but I don't know full Korean. And then my dad, his family, he grew up in Alabama. And so, you know, military South, like my dad was just very like, you listen to law, like you don't, you know, you don't break the law. Like he was very like followed the rules. And, you know, it didn't really make sense, I don't think, for us to move back down to the South. And then, of course, my mom had an, you know, she's just allergic to mosquitoes because they're brutal. They're brutal in the South. We're in Texas and it's so brutal here. And so I think, I don't know, I just never really got to know my Black side of the family through my dad. You know, we do road trips and go to family reunions and stuff. And my mom moved her immediate family over, so I got to know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I got to know my grandparents, her parents, all my aunts and uncles, and my cousins all moved over here to the States. So I got to spend a lot more time. So we would have like our Korean barbecue dinners, but I mean, our dinners were so interesting because it was a mixture of soul food, like they cornbread, collard greens, you know, ham hocks and rice
on the Korean side.
Well, no, like just in my immediate family, that's what my parents would cook for dinner.
Okay, my
dad would cook like fried chicken.
God, your dad cooked also.
Yeah, my dad cooked also.
Okay,
cornbread, and then my mom would cook Korean food like rice, kimchi.
Oh my girl, like, the best.
Yeah,
of both
it was
worlds.
so good. So I would literally eat like grits and a fried egg and kimchi for breakfast in the morning.
Oh my God, that's like my dream come true.
Sprinkled with bacon.
Yeah, that sounds so good.
So good. So, you know, and we just had this like really interesting family dynamic, but I would say that I grew up in a more, my dad was very strict on me, so I didn't really get to do a lot. I kind of kept my head in the books, kept my head with sports, and I learned about like my Black side mostly through my friends because he ended up retiring in an area where it was mostly military kids. I had a chance to mix with other military kids growing up. Okay. So there was also identity crises with them too, but some of them leaned more on the Black side than I did, right? Some of them leaned more on the Korean side than I did. And so, you know, back where I came from, there was a mixture of Black and Korean kids. So there was a really cool community.
This was in Washington State.
In Washington State, yeah.
And how long were you there?
Yeah. I lived there until, I went to college there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to college there. And then.
So your whole life.
Yeah, my whole life. Wow. So it wasn't until I was 30 when I moved to New York. I would say, 30 was when I moved to New York.
And what was the, like, demographic? your childhood's similar, but also very different from mine. What was the
Yeah.
demographic in Washington State?
I mean, it was, I would say it's more diverse than Texas.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little bit more diverse than Austin.
Okay.
I would have to say, and I don't know, maybe it's because of my lens, but a lot of Black people, a lot of Asians, a lot of mixed cultures, very Hispanics where,
Okay.
different here. There's a lot more Hispanic culture here.
Right.
When I lived in New York, there was a lot more, different cultural, like, Jewish and Muslim, like Dominican, like from every kind of melting
Right.
pot in New York. That's what I experienced when I lived
Yeah.
there. And I would say like New York felt more diverse when I lived in New York for the 3 years versus Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I would say that Washington State was pretty diverse. Like my class, I mean, I went to a school and there was hardly any Black kids. I would say
Okay.
probably like, maybe 10%
Okay.
Black kids. Especially my graduating class, it was so
Mhm.
small. So yeah, it was, I mean, I would just say, like, going back to your original question, like little Liz didn't really understand who she was, in her identity, because I just had to figure it out. I actually didn't even know that I was Korean and Black until, I mean, when I was in like middle school, because
Really?
seriously, because my parents were like, you were born in Germany.
I-
And so people would be like, what's your nationality? Because I didn't, I looked different, right? I was
Right.
mixed, curly hair.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand what people were asking me. So I'd be like, I'm German.
Oh, how funny.
So it was kind of a disservice, And so, now what I'm trying to do with my kids is really help them understand, So like this morning I had a conversation with Sophie as we were waking up, and I was like, mommy's half Black and mommy's half Korean. She's like, no, you're from Korea. And I'm like, okay, Sophie, but, just helping them understand, like, my culture and their culture, and they love eating kimchi,
Love
right?
that.
They love eating like fried chicken and, like all the like soul food stuff, right? So cornbread. So just really helping them understand that mixture, but also my husband's side, because he's white, right?
Yeah.
He's half German and half Polish,
Yeah.
right? And so helping them understand, like, there is a culture on the European side
Right.
too, right? And so, so they have about 4 different cultures to kind of
Right.
identify with, but play with. But I don't want them to be like, I'm this, I'm that. I
Right.
just want them to understand their background, and like my background and Phil's background.
Right, which our parents maybe necessarily like their generation. Just so everyone knows, when Liz is like talks about growing up, we're in our 40s. I am 43.
I'm 44.
I know we look like 30 years old, so it may be very confusing.
We look good. We look
Very
good, girl.
confusing for everybody. But like our generation, right?
Yes.
So our parents are
Yes.
boomers. We're millennials.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do think that culturally, like, yeah, it just wasn't like they didn't talk about
They
it
wouldn't
that
talk about
much.
it.
And then
Yeah.
having like ethnic, parents too, I think a part
Yeah.
of they want to downplay that also. So not necessarily my family, but I know with like a lot of Hispanic cultures,
Really?
they don't want you to speak Spanish because they don't want you to
Right.
be made fun of because of your accent.
Right.
And just the hardships
Yeah.
that come along with it, which is so different than today, right?
Yeah.
Today, it's like we celebrate, we encourage, we want all those
Absolutely.
things for our kids. Like
Absolutely.
for you, like at what, I'll speak to this after, but like I'm sure at some point you had to feel like you needed to pick one or the other.
Yeah.
Like who do you identify with, especially as you get older?
I mean, yeah, I would say I bounced back and forth. Like, I had most of my friends were white because that was just like most of who I went to
the
school
majority,
with, right?
yeah.
The majority. And my team, it was like my teammates were mostly white, and there's maybe like one other Black girl on the team that I remember that was older than me. And I actually remember going out in college with some friends, like from my hometown area. I just went to school locally. I didn't go that far.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd go out to the club, and they're like, Liz, you go first because you're Black, because we'd go to a Black club, or we'd go to a club, and
funny.
it's like very, very diverse. And then you
Yeah.
see the line, it's like all these Black people.
Yeah.
And they're like, Liz, you go first because you're Black.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl, like, whatever,
Yeah.
So it was,
in that moment, you became the Black friend.
right. I
In
became the
other
Black friend.
instances, you were not the Black friend.
No,
right?
exactly.
You were
Exactly.
the Korean friend or the mixed
Right.
friend or like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because I actually do identify a little bit more on my Korean side because my mom's Korean and we were close. And, we just took a trip to Korea last year, and I got to know that whole side of my mom's family. And I'm really trying to work at getting to know my dad's side. And, we would do family reunions every 2 years. I actually hosted one in Washington State in mid like 27, I think it was 2017. I can't remember what year it was. Not 2017. Anyway, I hosted one, and then since COVID happened, the reunions had stopped. And so I got re-engaged with my family in the South, and we're all on a thread, and they're like, Liz, oh yeah, how's Uncle Truman? And it's like really fun to like know that like I have more family out here that I can actually communicate with, because I can't communicate with my mom's cousins in Korea, even though I try learning Korean. But this year I'm really wanting to make more of an effort, and I'm like, hey, like my kids and I want to come visit, and I want them to really understand like who our family is. So that's very important to me. So
yeah, it's interesting. So I have a biracial son, my son Jackson, who's 5 years old. He's half Black and half me, which is Greek and Mexican. In my childhood, it was interesting because we moved around 8 times growing up. My dad was U.S. Customs Border Protection, so I was born in Dallas. We moved to Saudi Arabia, lived in Riyadh for a year, Dhahran for 2 years, moved to McAllen, Texas, and then to Memphis, Tennessee, where my little brother was born. And then Georgia, which I was there for 5 years. I went to 2 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 1 high school. I moved from Memphis, Tennessee to Columbus, Georgia, Columbus to El Paso, Texas. And I moved there for high school. And I like knew my mom was Mexican. I knew my mom was Hispanic. I knew my dad was Greek, but like, that doesn't mean that much to you. I remember going to the Mexican restaurants in Georgia, and then my mom loving like the waitresses, and there aren't maybe there are now, but back then there aren't a ton of Hispanic people in Georgia, in the South. It was very Black, it was very white. I remember I was literally the only like Latin kid, and there was one Puerto Rican, Cisco.
So you're like very minority there.
Oh yeah, at my sister's, because Ursula was in high school, I was in middle school. And there was one Puerto Rican in her high school and no one. And so people would, my experience growing up also was, I'd have friends that would be like, and my daddy look at you funny. It's because we never had a color person in our house before.
Oh my
I'd be like, the fuck? Who are they talking about? Like, me? Okay, shit. Okay, like it was...
That's
the white people definitely didn't see me as white. The Black people definitely didn't see me
right in the middle.
Black. Yeah. I'm not, but like I was ethnic. So I very much had like this identity, like, and I was like so country. So moving to El Paso was great for me because it taught me about like the Mexican side of my culture. I moved there and I'm like, hi, I'm Krystle. Nice to meet you. I like, Outkast and the Beatles. And
you found your people.
Yeah. And they're like, like, who is this brown ass, white ass girl, And so it was good. I like self-taught Spanish, learned about like the cultural side. So it's interesting because a part of me almost identifies more so as Hispanic, but I also think it goes back to the mom.
It does.
The moms.
It totally does.
The moms typically are like, the foundation of the family, and they keep the communication and the holidays and the culture alive and all the things together.
Yeah.
And my dad was very Greek, very proud. He drove an Electron Blue Corvette, license plate Greek, heavily involved in the Greek church. And so we would do all the like Greek Easters and the Greek festivals, and when we would see my dad's side of the family a lot. So it was like when I was very close with them. But I'm in Texas. My mom, I'm around my mom more. So I probably identify a little more Hispanic because culturally that's like my everyday.
Absolutely.
And then I'm very comfortable. Like I have a lot of Black friends. I'm from the South. I am from like Georgia, and so for me growing up like that way, it's interesting because where am I from? Am I from Georgia? Am I from El Paso? Am I from Austin?
It also depends on who you talk to.
I know. It's like I am from Georgia. Like when you think about where you grew up and the most prominent years of my life for sure were like living in the South. Georgia. Absolutely. And then El Paso. I went to high school. That also shaped me. So people have been like, where's your accent from? Because I was real country. I'm like, it's a Southern refined Hispanic accent. That's what that is. Like,
I want to hear this accent. I'm
girl,
so curious
it was
to hear what it was. It thick?
Well, I'm about to go to Ursula and I are going to Atlanta.
Yeah.
I call it I have an older sister who's 5 years older than me. I'm like, for your 50th high school reunion, we're going back, and so it'll be interesting. Ursula never got the accent the way I did. I think because I was younger.
Can you like dip into it when you want to? Does it
It'll
come
be
back?
real interesting when I go back to Georgia to see if I'm
There it is.
See if I start talking like this.
Did you really?
I swear to God, Liz, I had the biggest country accent ever with my brown ass.
That
when I
is
went to El Paso, they were like,
"Who are you?
"Who are you?" Exactly right. So
you can dip back. Wow.
I mean, yeah, but
I love it.
we're not trying to bring that back, girl. We are not trying to bring that back or go there. But
Jack will look at you like, "What?
I know.
Who are you, mommy?"
So with Jackson, it's interesting. I have these
Yeah.
conversations with him where I'm like, Jax, what are you? What is your mommy? Do you know what your mommy is?
Yeah.
And he's like, brown. And I was like, well, what's your dad? He's like, black. And I'm like, yeah, your dad's black.
Yep.
Instead of your mom's
Yeah.
like half Greek, half Mexican.
Yeah.
I'll be like, what do you identify? I literally just asked him this last week.
Did you?
Yes.
What do you say?
What do you identify? What do you feel you
Yeah.
are like? And
Yeah.
he said black. Girl,
Of course,
2
yeah,
seconds.
of course.
Black.
And he looks more black.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Black.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, all right. Okay. I was like, but which one do you like better? I said, do you like tortillas or bone-in chicken? Because he loves drums. He will like fuck it up. He'll
Yeah.
eat, like 4
Yeah.
drums like that.
Oh my
So I was like, do you like tortilla with butter
Yeah.
or drums? And
Yeah.
he thought about it and he was like, tortilla with butter. I'm like, andale. Andale. Okay, you may be black, but you, okay, a little
That
Mexican
is
too, boy.
funny.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Oh
It
my
is important
God.
though because
It's
I
so
do.
True.
I want him to
Yeah.
totally identify,
Yeah.
with he can make. I want him to make his own choice.
Yeah.
And,
Totally.
we'll see. It's interesting too because when we have gone places,
Yeah.
and for instance, we were with my girlfriend Melanie, who's
Yeah.
half Latina, her husband's white.
Yeah.
Kids are like very blonde,
Yep.
blue eyes,
Yeah.
and we were with their friends.
Yeah.
Jax was not playing with the kids we were with. He saw 2 biracial families.
That's right.
And he played
Yep.
with the biracial kids
Yep,
the
that's his
entire
comfort.
time. Yeah.
Yeah,
And when we go to the
comfort.
domain, you know how the domain has like
Yeah.
the grass area.
Absolutely.
He will find the black kids
Yeah.
and the mixed kids. and
love
play
it.
with them.
I
That's like
love
I guess where
that.
he feels most comfortable and identifies. Yeah,
As he
it's so
should.
interesting.
Because
Yeah.
they look like him. Right. And that's how we
Right.
identify, right? And that comfort and how that, other kids probably make him feel,
Yeah.
right? If they make him feel comfortable, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah, it's
I
so
love that.
interesting. I love
I
that.
gotta figure out like my kids because they lean like Cameron leans more into like his Asian friends, but I mean, like it's not that diverse here, and their schools are not that
know,
diverse,
I
and
know.
so they don't really get that much exposure, and
Yeah.
so I have to like really make an effort to make that happen for them, you
Yeah.
know, and so. But they can smash on some kimchi and some
Yeah, I
chicken
love
wings,
it.
so they love.
I love
especially
it.
Sophie.
Yeah.
Sophie can eat. She loves her drumsticks and rice and kimchi. So that's
I
what
love
we eat.
it.
But yeah.
So
it's
talking about like motherhood,
Yeah.
and like you and I always talk about like the invisible weight
Always.
of motherhood.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's like at this point we're like in our groove, right? Like our
Right.
kids are older.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Cam is
7.
7.
Yep, Sophie's
Sophie's
4
4.
and a half.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Jax
Yep.
is 5. Like we've
Yeah.
been doing this for a minute.
Yeah.
Shit, we
Yeah.
got a long way to go.
Yeah.
So we've been doing it for a minute. And we have like our mom bearings, but
Yeah.
it's hard,
It's so
and
hard.
you try to be all the things to all the people. You want to be a good
Yeah.
partner. You want to be
Yeah.
a good mother. You want to be a good friend. You want to
Yeah.
be a good employee. You want to be a good employer.
It's so
You
hard.
want to be like there for your clients. And it's so
Yeah.
hard. And I feel like men, they go to sleep, they can turn their brains off like that. And women, it's like impossible. We're
Yeah.
laying there at night and like
Yeah.
just falling asleep. Like I imagine a lot of women can,
Yeah.
but the rest of, the
so
majority, it's so difficult.
It's so
How
hard.
do you like manage, or what's your advice, to,
Yeah.
and how do your tips and tricks that you've learned along the way to kind of like manage that invisible weight?
Yeah, it's hard. I think this is probably the number one topic that I have that I talk to most of our friends, with and other friends and other mom friends. And I actually ask a lot of my entrepreneur friends because a lot of them are empty nesters. And here I am trying to I started my business, 3 years ago. And I don't want to say no to any of the networking events. And, people want to go on girls trips all the time. And it's so hard. So I have to be really, what's the word I'm looking for? I have to be really choosy, right? I have to be really, and it's not, I don't, and it's, me, like, I love hanging out with people. I love networking. I love like socializing, but lately I've had to say no to a lot of things, and I've had to be okay with saying no and prioritize my family, because it does impact the family dynamic, right? And so, how do I balance the workload? Like it's tough, but lately I have really leaned into listening to quite a handful of podcasts. And my most favorite ones have been like Mel Robbins Let Them, right? And some of the different her book, but then some of the different podcasts that she's had. And I used to begrudgingly like get the house cleaned up after the kids go down and just be like, ugh, and just get so upset with like having to put all the toys away and clean the dishes and do the laundry and all the things, right? But if I left that up to my husband, I probably would just do it all over again, So I'm like, so now I'm looking at it as in a more grateful way. And I think, Jay Shetty, just kind of like one of his podcasts, like he made a very enlightened comment about like, like this is just my display of love and giving back to my household and giving back, to like, just making the machine work, and it's hard. Like I'm tired. Some days I just don't feel like doing it. And other days I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's get it done. So, I have a routine at nighttime where after I put the kids down, like I take like 5 to 10 minutes to just get everything together and then get my everything done and ready for the next day. So I don't have to think about it and then the next morning. Because the times that's happened, chaos happens, kids are late to school, I'm late, I'm frustrated, I'm yelling, I'm screaming, like,
They're yellers.
Yeah, we grew up yellers, right? Because our parents yelled at us. But, I've had to, and it's not perfect. And I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to be better than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. And so, every day is a different day. There's like the routine is hard, and I really have to get the family dynamic going, like get my kids to cooperate too. So now I ask them to help pick up. Now I make them put their own dishes away every morning and every night.
To do that, I need to do that.
Yeah, because then we don't want to like have our kids grow up and then they get everything taken care of for them, and then they go to college and they don't know how to do anything.
Oh gosh,
like those kids that just don't know how to do laundry or don't know how to clean up after themselves or put their stuff away. Like, oh, my kids they're gonna know how to cook, clean up after themselves. Absolutely. All the things. And I want them to be self-sufficient, and like our family is a unit. So like and I actually tell Sophie and Cameron all the time, like everything has a place. And Sophie's like, no it doesn't. I'm like, girl, you better figure it out or it's going in the garbage, And now I don't have a problem throwing things away if the kids don't want to deal with it, if they don't want to like put put their toys away or something. I'm like, okay, it's going in the garbage, and I will throw it away.
Oh,
like
my goodness.
Cameron had a cast on, and he wanted to keep his cast. Thankfully, he's not old enough to listen to this podcast, but he wanted to keep that nasty, stinky cast.
To the no.
And literally this past Sunday, I was cleaning. I was so frustrated with all the mess, and just because they pull everything out and they leave it out. And that nasty cast was out, and I just threw it in the garbage.
Yeah, absolutely not.
So, there's things like that where I'm like, okay, if you don't want to take care of it, it's going in the garbage. So, I don't know. Motherhood is so hard. And I think that like having our community, right? Like you and I have gotten, we get our kids together. I get the kids together with their friends, play dates, and just making it easier that way. Because then when you connect with other people, then you're kind of like, okay, we're in the same boat, So yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
also, I think, in motherhood, it's about finding your tribe,
It is
right?
about finding a
Because not
tribe.
all moms are like
Yeah.
your people, right?
Totally.
So it's like
Exactly.
finding the other moms that are like your people,
Totally.
and you feel like it's a
Absolutely.
safe space. You're not going to get
Totally.
judged. Like
Totally.
you're
And
not,
time where we can get together and hang out and just hang out as like friends,
yeah.
not as mom
Oh
friends.
yeah, 1,000%.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
because oftentimes it's like my mom friend, and I don't know, we were friends before we became moms, and
Yeah.
I love that we have our thread going and we have our girl talk and our girl
Yeah.
time, and hopefully we can get Mahjong on the calendar.
Yes.
That would be fun.
Yes. So when Laura built
Yeah, I know.
big old beautiful house
I
of
know.
hers, we're gonna be definitely
Yes.
doing those nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so important. Like also to just to have a sounding board. Like you are my sounding board.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
you are my friend
too.
that I call for advice.
Yeah.
And once a
Yeah.
week, like we have these
We
conversations.
do.
Some days they're 5 minutes. Hey, I gotta go. Like I'm at pickup. And other
Yeah.
days they're an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Long. And it's like
Especially on drives too. Which
yes. Yeah, exactly. It's like the perfect time
It's the
to
perfect
like
time.
catch up. And I feel like you're not alone.
Yeah.
And so it's so like nice and important to be able to have.
It
And
is.
also, for me, like marriage advice too, relationship advice too. Like when you're in your 20s and you're like beefing with your boyfriend, you're like, fuck him.
Right.
Don't need him. Don't want
Yeah,
him.
exactly.
And then when you're in your 30s and 40s and you're married, those conversations, those aren't
They're
the
different.
conversations.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
conversations are you feel supported. You feel like, and you have to be very choosy too when you share things that are in your relationship. Because you share things, there's no going back.
There's no going back.
And so it's very difficult for people to look at your partner the same way, especially when we're talking about big things like infidelity and like, things like that. Like there's kind of no going back once you share those things. And so you have to be very mindful of your words. But let's just talk about normal grievances.
Right.
My husband's getting on my fucking nerves. Like, I feel like I've been carrying the weight of the family. They're always traveling. Like, whatever. Nothing big. But still, like, you have to have your friends that you can vent and they understand.
So
and, like, your friends that are in marriages, like, they get it. It's not going to be like, leave your husband. It's going to be like, oh, girl, I know mine does the same.
Right.
Like it's normal.
Well, I think the conversation about like, how do you do it as a mom, as a working mom, and then your husband or your partner. And it's like, everyone has the same answer. Their husband doesn't like have the brain power to be able to handle the workload and all that stuff, So it's so important to have that community, and then also to talk about like, what is your kid doing? Did your kid do this at 5? Did your kid do this at 4? I remember when Cameron and I were having a rough when he was 3. We were butting heads. I was like, what's going on? And I would talk to other friends that had 3-year-olds. They're like, everyone said 3 and 4 was the hardest years of the toddler years.
Oh, girl,
that gave me
kicked my ass.
Oh, God. Yes. And it gave me confirmation of like, okay, this is a phase. I'm not alone. Everyone else has experienced that 3 and 4 is really tough, because of the language barrier. They're developing their language and they have their own personality. And it made me realize like, okay, I'm not that crazy, So yeah.
Yeah. I think it's so important to have a sounding board, people that you can vent about your relationship, vent about your children, get advice, and where it's going to be safe. And at the end of the day, people just want the best for you. They love you, and like, we're here for you.
Absolutely.
And not everyone. And that's the thing too with like keeping your circle small and tight. And at our age, it's almost like no new friends, but. Yes and no, right?
Yeah.
Because there's obviously you will meet and we meet people along the way. And where people want to be friends with us, because we're social and we're outgoing and kind and a light, and it's like I can barely keep up with the ones that I have now, and then to add another person into the mix,
I know,
but also the group and that you do have, it's just so important that there's trust and loyalty and love, and like at the end of the day, and you may not agree with someone all the time and have your moments with them, but at the end of the day, there is love there and there's support there.
Absolutely.
It's so important. How do you feel about new friends in your 40s?
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's
Are
tough.
you no new friends? Or are you like open
No,
depending on the
you
person?
know me, girl. I'm
Yeah.
inclusive.
Yeah.
It's not the no new friends for me, because I think if you're gonna mesh with someone, you're gonna mesh with someone. It's gonna, we're all looking to like, have the right people in our sphere. Because I still have my friends that a lot of them, my closest friends from like Seattle, were all in my wedding. They're all my bridesmaids.
Yeah.
So none of us live in the same area,
Right.
and we don't keep in touch as often, right? And so maybe like once a quarter, some of them once a year. It's tough because they're all in their own proximity of their, their family life and their dynamic and their work life, right? And some of my best friends that like live in other cities, it's like, to your point, so hard to keep up with.
Yeah.
But then, in my business, I go to a lot of networking events, and, I have since made some new friends that are kind of have been added to my circle.
Mm-hmm.
The tough part is everyone is so different that there's not a lot of I can't cross over.
Yeah.
And it's not that I can't or want to, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I don't want to overwhelm my current friends with new friends
Yeah.
that don't make sense for them.
Yeah.
Right? And it's
like playing a game of chess.
It is.
Yeah.
It is like playing a game of chess. So I think that's probably one of the things I have challenges with in my 40s with friendships, is balancing the time with my family,
Mm-hmm.
my current friends, and my kids' friends,
Yes.
parents,
Yeah.
and then my new friends that I've met in the entrepreneurial world and that I'm still meeting, right?
Yeah. Right.
Because I want to make time for everyone, but I just don't have that time. So, I just have to be really choosy and like figure that out. I mean, like even like birthday parties, like it's hard for me to have, a lot of us in our 40s, like some of our other friends have multiple birthday parties and dinners to accommodate the different friendships and dynamic, because you can't bring everyone together to have that dynamic and interesting conversation, because I want to connect with people on a deeper level and not just be like, hey, thanks for showing up to my birthday, happy birthday, yay, and then bye, because that's, I don't know. I don't know, that's just so surface. So otherwise, like you have the bigger party and then you have the smaller like dinners.
Yeah. Or you do the co-party.
Oh, we do the co-party. Yeah, we have a lot of crossover, which is great.
Yeah,
I love.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I find that I like, and you know this about me, I'm like a mass texter.
You are a mass texter.
But I'm only mass texting like
a couple groups.
The Familia group.
Yeah.
My Women Who Win, and then, which you're on two of them.
Yeah.
And then the Mamas group.
Yeah.
But I'm mass texting what's going, that's my way of giving you guys an update on my life.
Yeah.
Like no one else really does that.
Right.
Like none of my other friends do it, but it works for me. Like this is
why it
sharing.
works for you? It's because you're the common denominator.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that works because some people might not feel like, oh, I don't know if I really want to share in that group setting, but it works for you because you're dynamic, you're amazing. We all love you, and you're the common denominator. And it's like, we always want to know what's going on in this world.
So like I share that, it's like, there's a select group, but it's like there's several people. So I'm like giving, rather than telling each one of you individually what the hell's going on with me. Yeah. I do like a mass drops. Like here's what's going on.
I can tell when you do the mass drops too. Yeah. I'm in two other groups. I'm like,
Yeah, because
and also respond to both threads.
Yeah, I know exactly. I'm like, well, Liz, you don't need to respond to this, but I appreciate it. No, but that's like my way of like at one time, these are the people that I care about. These are the people I trust. These are the people and I'm also sharing because I want perspective.
Absolutely.
I want opinions. I value your opinion. I value your perspective. And I know that everyone can't get to everything. Right. So I've also learned, like, if I'm going to be sharing all this stuff, I can't expect people to like respond or and some people sidebar it too, and they're like, hey, like I saw that, what's going on, and I'm happy to have those conversations, but it's almost easier to have a mass conversation. True. And just get it all out there with my 5 closest like friends than doing 20 drops with my mom and my cousin and Liz and like
Yeah.
It's, yeah, we all have like different forms and ways of communicating, but I definitely feel like, okay, at this like 43 years old, like I really have my people.
You do.
I have my people. I have my tribe.
Yeah.
I have my, and it may like from the outside looking in, like, oh my God, you like have, which my mom, and you have so many friends, you have so many. And I'm like, I do, but I don't.
Right.
Like
I think, you do, but you also have friends that you hang out with consistently, and you have friends that you hang out like monthly, and you might see friends that quarterly, like, and you have friends that live in other places that might come back, and then some of us might, who's that? Like, I'm like, who's that friend of yours? Oh, girl, you know her, and so, I don't know. I think it's great to have like you have your tribe set, right? Like, I feel like I have my tribe set, but I'm like, I could still have.
Yeah, and I'm open.
Jump in, they can jump in.
Yes, I agree.
If you want to, if you fit.
Yeah, I agree. I'm open, but I've also, you and I have been burned by friendships before too.
We have.
And that's been a learning lesson for me. Ladies in your 20s. Yeah. You will go through friendships and people that okay, Liz and I are both, we're Aquarius, we're open books, we are like all inclusive. And I have become less and less inclusive over the years. And it's because you will get burned by people. Like, I genuinely like jumped all in and thought that it was reciprocated, and then when you find out that person doesn't really fuck with you like that, they actually they almost like don't like other people have been like, girl, she never liked you, and I'm like,
but then a very similar experience, very similar, it's the same person,
and then it makes sense, it was like that person liked you because everyone likes you. You're likable, right? You are interesting and you're funny, and the things that come with being your friend, the perks, the benefits, like they wanted all of that, but in reality they didn't really like you. They almost loathed you, like,
But I would have to say that I'm actually grateful for those friendships, right? Because I have a lot of like acquaintances that aren't quite my closest friends, but if they wanted to tap me and say, hey, like, whatever, ask me a question about something or ask me for an introduction, I always leave it as an open book. Like, if you ever need an intro to someone in my network or whatever, just tap me. I'm totally fine to introduce. But I'm grateful for those friendships because it allowed us to really understand like our friendships, our core, right? And like, and what to be cautious about. It's almost like getting burned by those friendships helps us understand to like keep our circle tighter. Right. And not just let anyone in. Exactly. And like, okay, yeah, we can go have dinner or coffee. Right. But you might not come to a certain thing or something. I don't know. Right. But, I don't know. I think it just helps us kind of read those people a little bit sooner than later. But I don't know. There's a lot of growth in that too. That I'm okay with. But yeah, that hurts. It hurts. It hurts.
It does hurt.
It really does.
Especially when you are like invested in someone and you think that it's genuine. That like you really genuinely care for that person and like think they're like, oh shit, this like very quickly this person became one of my closest friends. Absolutely. And like, and it was all like fake, but 1,000% like no regrets because there was a lesson in that. Totally. And you value, the people that really matter most. And then also you're more cautious. Totally. Like I'm far more cautious now at 43 than I was at 33. That's
think about now that we're moms, the conversation we'll get to have with our kids as they have friendships, right? Like, cause my daughter's in this weird phase. It's very normal for 4 and 5 year olds to go through this phase where like she's my best friend. She's not my best friend anymore. I'm like,
isn't that funny when that happens? Yes. They're my best friend. You're not my best friend anymore. You're like, wait, we're here.
But the teachers say it's normal, and I was like, okay. And so Sophie will cry to me sometimes, and she's like, so and so doesn't want to be my best friend. I'm like, girl.
You just wait until
she's
after
just
lunch.
Your friend. Like, they don't have to be your best friend. Yeah. But they use the best friend card. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, when did that happen? Like, and
I would say 4.
It's 4. Yeah. And it's hurtful because when they hear another friend, hear them say so-and-so's their best friend, they're like, they don't want to play with me. I'm like, that's okay. They don't have to play with you, but go make a new friend and go play with a new friend, And so, I don't know. It's a really, like, I don't know, like, as a mom now, I'm like, it's okay, girl. Yeah. They don't have to be your best friend. Yes. So, it's true. We've been burned and we feel that. And we're like, okay, now I can have a better conversation with my kids.
Right.
You know, that you don't have to have, like, not everyone's going to be your friend.
Right.
You know, and if someone walks away from you as that friend in that friendship, like, that's
They
okay.
weren't for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they were in your life for a season, for
Yeah.
a reason, and that's it. And then you move on. So,
Right.
yeah. Yeah. I'm sure we're probably that for other people too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Right?
there are many people in the city that definitely hate my ass. 1000%. They are. And for me, I know exactly.
I would not say they hate your ass. I would just say they probably like, okay, like, we've had the time and now it's time to, you know, whatever.
I'm pretty sure
But yeah.
there's some people that hate me. Like, and it's fine. I know,
Yeah.
to me, I know exactly what happened
Yeah.
and why we no longer have a relationship anymore.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they have their perspective, I have
Totally.
mine, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
So it's the same thing with like breakups. You know?
Right.
You have your
Absolutely.
perspective, your
Yeah.
like reality of like, it may be a little delusional and distorted, but like you have
Right.
your reality of that, of your experience in that relationship,
Yeah.
and that's totally okay.
Totally.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's for the best.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah. Absolutely.
there's so many incredible people like
Yeah.
in your life, in our lives,
Yeah.
that those things, like, they may be painful at the time, but
Yeah.
later, you know, significant and significant, like
Yeah.
everything always plays out the way it's meant to play out.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's
And
so true.
so
believe
I
that
think
too.
that, yeah, with mothers and like marriage and relationships, and it's
Yeah.
just so important to like,
Yeah.
you know, our time is already so limited. So you
Yeah.
really have to like pick and choose your
Absolutely.
battles, pick and choose your people.
Absolutely.
So tying it back to like your business, and I remember whenever you were like wanting to get started, and you know, my advice to people is like, go for it. You're
Yeah.
better to have
Yeah.
tried and
Totally.
failed than to have not tried at all.
Totally.
So like 1,000, and also don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Just
Very.
go for it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
here we are today,
Yeah.
sitting in
Yeah.
episode 1 of my podcast. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to do it.
Yep.
Been thinking about it, not talking about it that much, but
Yeah.
a few over the years.
You
I've
talked
been,
about it with me.
I've
No,
dropped it.
This fits
Yeah,
stuff.
I've dropped it over the years, you know, but haven't like, and then it was like, finally, I just made the
Yeah.
decision.
Yeah.
Like last
That's
week
it.
in my Pilates class, I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. Book the studio time,
Totally.
and like, I didn't overthink it.
Yeah.
You know, analysis, what is it? Paralysis by analysis.
Yep.
That's not me.
Yep.
I am like,
No, you don't. You
no,
don't have-
I make
yeah,
a decision
she's
and I like go. And that's what this was.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to go for it.
Yep.
And that's,
But also, I'm very proud of you that you decided to do it on your own, right? Because you did one in the past
Right.
with a crew, right? And this one is yours.
yeah.
And you have more control over it, and you can control your agenda and your guests and your conversation. So I'm very proud of you that you
Thank
decided to
you.
do it and you went for it, and it's like for you.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
yeah.
you. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I definitely, but I want to ask you, like, okay, the premise of my podcast is like, what was a crystal clear moment for you? What was the defining like moment in your life that kind of changed the trajectory of your life? And so I feel like for you, you're still kind of in the infancy, you know, a few years into launching your business. And so what was kind of the moment where you were like, I'm 100%, I'm going to go for this?
Yeah.
And what are some of the things that you learned and that you would do differently?
Yeah, great question. I would say the crystal clear moment for me was when after I got laid off from the job that I had pre-COVID, and I took a year off. I had just had Sophie. I went back to another job, and I was thinking like, do I want to go and start my own thing? Do I, want to go for this other company? I went to go work for that other company for 8 months, thinking that's what I wanted. Owning revenue, owning a team, leading a team, managing a team, creating things, right? And having a less than 1-year-old and a 3-year-old was so hard. And it made me, the head came when Phil and I, and this was my fault, I accidentally booked a work trip to New York at the same time as Phil, not knowing he was also going to New York. who's going to watch the kids?
Oh my God. Like,
to watch the kids. And I was like, oh my God. And nothing is more horrifying than like having to feel like you're like at a head with your career and your husband's career, and then being a mom.
yeah.
And like figuring out like what your identity was
Right.
or is. And I decided, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. And I actually didn't love doing that job anyway. I loved like doing something and working, being part of something and being part of a team. But I realized that if I'm going to have these kids, these 2 kids, and I want to have a family, and I want someone to put me down when I die someday, you know, and take my inheritance or whatever, like I want to have that legacy. I have to do it for my kids. So they're my why, right? They're my why as to why I decided to start my own business. And when, you know, like hearing you talk about your whole podcast, like, okay, when am I going to do this? Like, I'm just going to do it. I finally, you know, after thinking and talking through it, like I just did it because I realized I'm the one that is going to have to control my success here and my destiny in making this work. And no one else has control over that. I can make it go. I can launch it and go as fast as I want to, or go as slow, but I'm taking my time through it, even though it's been 3 years and 2 point in its infancy, because my kids are so little. And one of my older, wiser entrepreneur friends told me, she's like, your kids are so little, like enjoy this time with them. She's like, volunteer, you know, on the PTA, like, you know, because once they get to middle school, they don't want you there.
Yeah.
Once they get to high school, they don't need parent volunteers in middle school and high school.
Right.
So like, they're like, be present for your kids while they're in elementary school, because they will see you and they will want you there.
Yeah.
They're excited for you, you know? So I actually go to like almost every field trip that Cameron has.
That's amazing.
I volunteer for his classroom anytime there's a thing that's happening. Next year, I'm going to join the PTA as like co-president.
Girl.
Like,
okay. Oh goodness,
gonna be busy, you know, like it's crazy. So now I'm more involved in his school and like, you know, understanding like what his school culture is like. And when he sees me, oh girl, the principal called me last week and was like, Cameron's having a little bit of attitude, you know, so I get to check him, right?
Yeah.
So then the principal can comfortably call me and say, hey, Cameron's acting up.
Yeah.
He's in the principal's office, you know, and we knocked that out right away this weekend. I'm like, okay, what's going on with you, sir? Yeah. And he's just like, nothing. He's 7. He's going through a spurt, right? And he's just testing boundaries. So, yeah, I would say, like my kids are very important to me right now, and why I chose to do what I'm doing, because it gives me and it allows me the flexibility. I can't imagine working a corporate job right now. Right. I cannot imagine having to go to an office where my husband goes. He has to go work downtown. He has to go to an office every day. He has to be there at a certain time. And then sometimes he doesn't get home until 5:36, 7, like, you know, who's making dinner for the kids? Right. And so that's where I've realized, like, okay, like, I'm going to have to I'm not a traditional wife by any means, right? I'm a working entrepreneur, but I have the flexibility to be there for my kids so that I can watch them grow and have a little bit more time and control over their younger years. But I don't want to miss out on that. Right. You know?
And your husband, you know, working, like being the breadwinner for your family, gives you the freedom and the flexibility to do that. So you are so blessed.
Yeah, very blessed.
You know,
very
the fact that you have the luxury and you have a partner that supports you.
Very supportive.
You know, to be able to do that. That's just
and he's a great husband and a great dad too. Like there's a lot of things I complain about, but he takes care of a lot in our household too. Yeah, he's very hands-on. You know, plays sports with the kids to make sure that they're like, you know, trying to do it. You know, he wants them to play sports, right? So we're busy. We're busy.
You guys are like one of the busiest couples that I know. And so I am happy to hear that you're choosing. So like you're picking and choosing versus you're very much like a yes person. You want to like be there and support and show up. And girl, I stopped doing that a long time ago. And I have 1 kid. Like... You know, and also for me, I've learned too, is like having an only child, I felt like I needed to like fill all of his time and make all the weekends interesting. And it's like, you don't have to do that. Like you're going to like burn yourself out and wear yourself out. And then especially now that I have my kid every other weekend, my time with him is even more valuable.
Precious.
More precious. So,
Yeah, and getting to know him, I didn't realize there was a layer of like as a mom, we think we know our kids, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I really don't. So I have to ask them questions. Like I know what they like and whatever, but that changes, and the things that they're learning in school. Oh, girl. Cameron dropped the F-bomb again this past weekend.
Oh, well,
and
that literally, my kid just said, what the F at school last week.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
lost some privileges.
Yeah.
It's a joy. I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner because I cuss like a sailor.
It will continue to happen.
Exactly.
It will continue to happen. Because, like, it's in songs. It's
literally everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's in the house.
And I will say under my breath sometimes, and Cameron's like, you said a bad word.
Oh, Chuck loves to call me out.
Oh, I did. I really did. And I did it so casually because I'm cooking. I'm like, shit. And he's like, Mom.
So what do you say to that? Because I always say, I'm your mom. I'm an adult.
Yeah.
Adults, while cussing isn't good.
Yeah.
Adults are going to cuss.
Yeah.
And guess what? I can cuss. And just because you hear it doesn't mean you can say it.
Exactly.
You know better than that.
It's so true.
I mean, that's my rebuttal.
Yeah.
If anyone has any better advice, I'm all ears. But that's my...
Yeah, it's tough because Cameron said to me one time, and Cameron is hilarious. He's like, Mom, it's just a word. And I'm like,
damn.
You're right. You are right. It is just a word, but it's not a nice word for a 7-year-old to say. It's not a nice word or a good word for kids to use. Adults say it because, we're adults and, to your point, like adults it's okay for adults to say it. So when you're 18 and older or whatever, you can say that word too, if you want to. You don't have to.
Right.
So now we've been trying to adjust our verbiage. And so I'll say, oh, sugar.
Oh, God.
Oh, fudge. Oh. And that's so hard. But, like, the kids, it's really hard. But it makes me more conscious of saying it.
Of course.
Because I go through rounds of where I don't say it at all. I don't say any cuss words. And then when I get frustrated and a little bit kind of whatever, I'll just drop it like a sailor, And now I'm being more conscious. And I'll say, oh, sugar. Oh, crap. And they think crap's a bad word, which is hilarious. Yeah. And they're like, oh, crap, you said the C word. And I'm like, crap means poop. And they're like, oh. And of course it's poopy potty talk right now,
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, but it's hilarious. So kids are gonna say it.
I know.
They're gonna hear it, and they're not gonna always hear. Like I took the kids to a skate park one day, and some kid cussed out his brother. And he was probably 9.
Oh my.
And he was like, F you fucking it. Oh yeah, he was like, "F you, motherfucker," and then
oh my,
around all
to the who? To the 6-year-old?
No, to his brother,
God,
and I was
gracious.
like, and the dad was there, and another mom was there. Was like, "Hey, you don't say that," and then I was like, "Okay, if we think we're gonna control what they hear, we can't control what they hear on the playground, and it's gonna get worse when they get to school, like middle school." So,
and I also never wanted my kid to be shocked when he heard words like that either. You're gonna hear it, but it doesn't mean you can say it. And so for me, I don't really cuss when I'm mad.
Right,
casually.
It is casually. Oh shit.
I casually cuss in conversation.
Yeah.
And so I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, but we don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just important. I've learned to explain. Kids want an explanation.
Right.
And when and when I grew up, my dad would just say, "Because I said so."
Right.
Do you remember? Did you?
Of course.
Yeah. I said so.
Yeah.
And I don't want there's resentment there, right? And that's also triggering for me. So I hear, so when my kids ask me a question like why, I will answer them.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, this is why, and we shouldn't say this, and because it's not nice when you say it. It sounds funny. It sounds rude when you say it. It's very disrespectful. But yeah, they have to have an explanation behind everything in order to not say it again.
Right.
And they'll be like, oh, okay, I get it.
Right.
Right. Otherwise, they will play with that word. Words. So.
And that's the thing too. I think there's such a shift in our culture and our age.
Yeah.
As we know better, do better. Right. Exactly. So it's kind of the old school, because I said so, authoritative type of parenting, where now it's more of we're having conversations with our kids, trying to explain things. We're more mindful. We're more demure. It's just so important, right? So our kids can do better and just understand things.
I also someone said it best to me before I even had kids. They're like, the goal is to raise your kids so that they're not assholes.
Right.
Right. And so, and I really value that because I'm like, yeah, I don't want my kids to be assholes. Like, I want them to be kind. I want them to be polite.
Right.
And to your point, they should know so that they know not to use certain words.
Right.
And they're educated around like, hey, yes, that word exists. These things exist, you
Right.
know, but it does not mean it's okay for you to use those words or say it. Right. Just
Right.
don't be an asshole.
Right. Exactly.
Like, essentially. So, yeah.
Yeah. It is, I don't know. It's like such a privilege
Yeah.
to be a parent.
Yeah.
And it's like tries you
Yeah.
on
It
every
does.
level,
It does.
you know, and it's like putting a mirror up.
Yeah.
Right. And like
Yeah.
you're at your triggers and your insecurities and your
Yeah.
like, but then also like the best parts of you too, right? You see
Totally.
like shining through.
Yeah.
And the
That's
same
true.
thing with like, you know, my ex-husband, we're not together,
Yeah.
you know, but there's so many things that like my son does. And I'm like, some things drive me bananas, but then other things I'm like, that's such an endearing quality. And I know that
Yeah.
he gets that from his father.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
nice to like see
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
shining through. And then like you want to pour into that, right? Into the
Absolutely.
things that like, you know, just to help your kids shine
Yeah.
but most importantly, not be an asshole.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for doing my first podcast.
You're for
I know.
yes.
I love it. I
We
could
did it.
not think of a better person like to be,
Yeah.
you know, to start this journey with me. And you're so supportive and love me. And I love you
Love you.
so much.
Yeah.
All you love me. I know you love me. I feel it. Like
Yeah.
it's genuine and you know
Absolutely.
I love you. Like
And I want the best for you, right?
Yeah.
And you've like, we've got through so much together in the
Girl,
past
a
9,
lot.
10 years,
Yeah.
right? It's been crazy, but
Yeah.
you know, we're evolving. It's
Right.
going to get better. And, you know, I can't wait to, you know, to just kind of see where your podcast goes, but also like where your future goes and
Yeah.
like, you know, all the great things that all the blessings that you're getting in your life too.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
yeah.
It's been a journey.
yes.
Both of us every
Yes.
day, getting better.
Yes.
Our
Getting
kids
better.
are growing and we
Yeah.
get to like do that with each other. It's
Yeah.
like really amazing. We're really
Yeah.
lucky. So
Yeah.
thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
I love you.
I love you too. Yay.
Thanks, guys.
Yay.